All right, today we're going on a bit of an extreme journey. We're heading all the way to the bottom of the world, to the coldest, driest, and windiest continent on the entire planet, Antarctica. And let me tell you, this isn't just about visiting some remote, icy place. No, this is a journey right into the heart of our planet's history.
And this quote right here, it really sets the stage perfectly. You see, Antarctica isn't just some big, empty, icy wilderness. It's like a living archive, a crucial window that lets us peek into where our planet has been and maybe, just maybe, where it's headed.
So you might be wondering, how do you even get to the end of the Earth? Well, for the author of our source material, Tashani Doshi, it was a pretty epic undertaking. She started her journey way up in Madras, India. That's just 13 degrees north of the equator. And from there began this massive expedition south.
And believe me, getting there is a monumental task. I mean, just look at this. The journey kicks off in a car, then moves to an airplane that crosses 9 different time zones. And to top it all off, it finishes on a Russian research ship that has to navigate its way through 3 oceans. It's really like a modern-day pilgrimage to the last truly pristine frontier on our planet.
Yeah, over 100 hours of non-stop travel. This is definitely not your average weekend getaway. It's a real endurance test. And it just goes to show you how incredibly isolated this continent is from the rest of our busy, bustling world.
But after all that, the payoff is just immense. The author says her first feeling was just relief. I made it. But that feeling was almost immediately replaced by something way deeper, a profound sense of wonder at the sheer scale and the quiet majesty of it all. It's one of those places that just hits you and immediately challenges your entire perspective on things.
Okay, so stepping onto Antarctica is kind of like stepping into a time machine. Seriously, to really get what this place is all about today, we have to rewind way, way back into its deep past, to an ancient supercontinent called Gondwana.
And the transformation is just incredible when you think about it. We're talking 650 million years ago, Antarctica was right at the heart of this warm, vibrant landmass, Gondwana. It was thriving for millions and millions of years before it all started to break apart. The pieces drifted, and Antarctica ended up at the South Pole, becoming the frozen, icy continent we know today. The difference between then and now, it's just stark. Back then, you had a warm Antarctica teeming with all kinds of plants and animals. Today, it's the coldest place on Earth, totally isolated with no native human population. It really is like a ghost of its former self.
And that's why this place is so important. By studying this incredible transformation, we get a much clearer picture of the huge forces, evolution, extinction, massive climate shifts that have shaped the world we all live in today.
So, let's try to place ourselves in this massive timeline. The Earth has this vast, sprawling history that stretches back eons. And us, humanity? Well, we've barely even shown up to the party.
Think about the time scale for a second. 650 million years. That's how long ago Gondwana was around. It's a span of time that is, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. And now, think about human civilization. We've been around for just 12,000 years. If you picture a giant geological clock, that's barely a few seconds. The contrast is just staggering, right? And it really puts into perspective the kind of impact we've had in such a tiny sliver of time. And in those few seconds on the clock, we have managed to create, as the author so perfectly puts it, quite a ruckus. We've built massive cities, we've dominated nature, and by burning fossil fuels like there's no tomorrow, we've started to fundamentally change the entire global climate. This is exactly why Antarctica is so critical, especially in the whole climate change conversation, because it's stayed so pristine. Its ice cores hold this perfect, 500,000-year-old record of our planet's atmosphere. It's literally a frozen library, packed with carbon data that helps us piece together our past, our present, and our future. And it's in this one-of-a-kind environment that a program called Students on Ice actually brings young people down here. They get to see these realities for themselves firsthand and learn one of the most profound lessons this continent has to offer.
And you know what? It all starts with something microscopic. Phytoplankton. These teeny tiny single-celled plants, they're the foundation of everything down there. Think of them as the grasses of the sea. They use photosynthesis to nourish and sustain the entire food web of the Southern Ocean.
Here's the thing, though. Scientists warn that any further damage to the ozone layer directly hurts these little guys. And if the phytoplankton start to disappear, well, the entire food chain feels it, from the smallest krill all the way up to the biggest whales. And this isn't just an ocean problem. That disruption messes with the global carbon cycle, because these organisms are absolute powerhouses at sucking carbon out of the atmosphere.
And right there, that gives us this great metaphor for existence that Antarctica teaches us. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Take care of the small things, and the big things will fall into place. The health of our entire planet really does depend on its smallest, most foundational parts. If we look after them, the bigger systems have a chance to thrive.
Now, the author's whole journey was full of these moments of clarity, these epiphanies. But the most profound one of all, it happened just short of the Antarctic Circle, in a moment that was, well, it was both totally surreal and deeply revealing.
So the ship, the academic Shikalski, it pushes as far south as it can possibly can, until it gets completely wedged in a thick stretch of sea ice. At that point, the captain decides, all right, we have to turn back. But not before doing something pretty extraordinary. I mean, can you even imagine hearing that instruction? All right, everyone, climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. It sounds completely impossible, right? But down here, in this part of the world, the impossible, it kind of becomes real. So there they were, all 52 of them, decked out in their gear, walking on a solid meter of ice. But just think about this. Right under their feet was 180 meters of deep, living, breathing salt water. And off in the distance, you could see crab-eater seals just sunning themselves on the ice floes. It was just this moment of total immersion in a world that feels so alien, yet so interconnected. And that was the ultimate epiphany. Standing right there, on that thin little layer between the huge sky and the deep ocean, surrounded by life that has adapted to these insane extremes, it all just clicked. The seals, the ice, the water, the people, everything. It's all part of one single, beautiful and delicately balanced system. And this brings us to the final, kind of haunting question, doesn't it? Antarctica's history shows us that the planet warms and cools. It's a natural cycle. But given the incredible speed and scale of human impact right now, the real question is, will we be around to see the next chapter play out? Or will we have gone the way of the dinosaurs? A footnote in the planet's long, long story.